guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Damian. I'm back with a Visitor Nightmare video for you guys today. 3 disturbing true hidden camera horror stories. I think I already said a happy Friday. This one should be interesting. I'm kind of curious, is it like someone that placed a hidden camera somewhere and then is like watching for something? Or I don't know what to really think of hidden camera horror stories. I'm assuming someone like set up hidden cameras and then they found stuff that's disturbing. That's all I can really imagine. Starting. This definitely seems like an interesting title. I don't think we've seen a title like this from Mr. Nightmare before, so I'm kind of like, what? Anyways, got my blanket because I'm fucking cold. I know it's only August, but I'm freaking cold, so don't mind me. Thank you. Okay. 20 minutes and 50 seconds, so shorter than the other videos.
22 when this happens.
Okay.
At the time, I had just graduated college, I was between jobs, and doing odd work around my small town, like babysitting, cleaning houses, running errands, basically anything that paid cash.
Right.
A woman I dog sat for in the past recommended me to a friend of her neighbor's, a man named Craig. He called me one afternoon and explained he'd be traveling for a week and needed someone to stay in his house to look after his golden retriever, Max.
Okay.
He said Max was an anxious dog who did best with someone actually staying overnight rather than just coming by to feed him, and the pay he offered was a little more than usual, so I agreed. I met Craig 2 days later. He was in his late 40s, tall, wearing wire-rimmed glasses and a windbreaker. Nothing about him seemed strange at first.
At first.
Maybe a little overly friendly, but not creepy. His house was on the edge of town, tucked back in a wooded area. The place itself was nice, but a little dated, like with beige carpets and floral curtains. Craig walks me through everything.
If this is how it looks like for real, then that's not it. Like, I'm not gonna be with a forest around me. No, thank you.
How often to let Max out, where the spare key was, which fridge items I could use. He told me I could stay in the guest bedroom, which was right off the living room on the first floor. I started the job on a Monday. The first 2 nights were normal. I watched TV in the living room, then took Max on his evening walks, and then slept in the guest room with him curled up at the foot of the bed. It was the 3rd night when things went wrong. I had been sitting on the bed, scrolling through my phone, when I noticed something odd. On the dresser across from the bed, next to a small lamp, was a digital alarm clock. I remembered thinking it didn't match the rest of the room.
Okay, so I feel like this person that's house sitting set up a camera, but I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is your house, someone's just babysitting it, or not babysitting it, but dog sitting for like a week in your house. Like, it makes sense to set up cameras. I'm not gonna say it's creepy. Like, if it's in the washroom, that's creepy. But if it's just in the bedroom, I mean, that's also kind of creepy. Because if you're changing. But in terms of like safety and make sure they don't steal anything, hidden cameras are a good idea, especially when it's like a nanny cam, right? It's like you don't want people knowing, or not people knowing, but you don't want people touching your shit, right? So it's like, it makes sense, but in the bedroom it seems a little bit meh. I guess like it's the guest bedroom, so it's like there shouldn't really be anything in there, right? Except for the guest stuff. So I don't know. Let's see where this goes though, but I'm kind of curious because again, it does make sense to set up cameras when someone's in your house that you have no idea who they are, right? So let's see what happens.
It was newer looking. Black plastic with a bright blue LED display, but everything else in the room looked like it belonged in the early 2000s. I don't know what made me look closer. Maybe it was the way the light from the lamp hit the front of it. But as I leaned in, I noticed a small, perfectly round black pinhole above the numbers. At first, I thought it was just a sensor, but then I noticed the angle. The tiny hole was pointed directly at the bed. My stomach dropped. I'd read stories about hidden cameras and alarm clocks before, but I'd never actually seen one in person.
I've never actually had a. I didn't even know that was the thing. There's cameras and alarm clocks. Damn, or there can be. Damn.
My mind started racing. I picked it up, and it was heavier than I expected. There was a faint buzzing sound inside, like a tiny fan. I turned it toward me and stared right into the pinhole. That was when Max, who had been lying by the door, suddenly lifted his head and started whining. From somewhere else in the house, not the front door, but deeper inside, I heard the unmistakable sound of a door closing. Every hair on my body stood up. Greg wasn't supposed to be back until Sunday.
Bro.
It was only Wednesday night.
Damn.
I froze, holding the clock in my hands. my heart pounding so hard it almost hurt. Then I heard slow footsteps on the hallway carpet.
Bro.
I quickly set the clock back down and moved to the door, locking it just as the footsteps stopped outside.
So what I'm gathering so far is, obviously he'll confirm this with me, but what I'm gathering so far is that he never even left, or he snuck back in the middle of the night or something, and then he's watching you in the basement or something with the cameras. That's so creepy, bro. Oh my goodness.
And Craig's voice came through, calm but slightly out of breath. He was saying he had left something in there the last time he was home and needed me to open the door.
Yeah, okay.
I couldn't speak. A moment later, he said it wasn't what I thought, claiming it was a motion sensor for the dog and that he hadn't wanted to freak me out by mentioning it. I backed away from the door, my hand over my mouth. He told me to come out and that we would talk like adults.
No.
But when I didn't respond, his knocking turned into pounding. He yelled at me to open the door, with his voice no longer calm, but sharp and angry. Max started barking and jumping at the door, which only made Craig sound more agitated. I glanced at the window, which was low enough to the ground to climb out, but it was locked. So I fumbled with the hatch, my hand shaking so badly it took me 3 tries to open it. Behind me, Craig was still pounding, now shouting that if I didn't open the door, he would get the key to the room and call the cops and tell them I broke into his house. I didn't wait to hear more. I shoved the window open, climbed out awkwardly, and dropped onto the grass outside. Max scrambled after me, his nails clicking on the window ledge, but he ultimately gave up and didn't jump out. I ran through the side yard and down the gravel driveway until I reached the road. My phone was in my pocket, and I called my mom, who lived 15 minutes away. I told her to come get me right now. By the time she pulled up, I was hiding behind a cluster of mailboxes. Craig's house was nowhere in sight from that spot, but I kept looking over my shoulder. I stayed at my mom's for the rest of the night. The next morning, I blocked Craig's number and called the lawyer. The lawyer said that without physical proof, like a recording of the camera or the device itself, pressing charges would be difficult. Even if the clock was a hidden camera, Craig could claim it was a harmless motion sensor, and without evidence, it would be my word against his. I wanted to go back and take a picture of it, but my lawyer strongly advised against returning to the house alone. The idea of seeing Craig again made my skin crawl, so nothing happened to him. I never got paid for the 3 nights I stayed there.
Bro.
The woman who had recommended me to him stopped responding to my messages, and I never found out if she knew anything about him.
Oh, she did, because she stopped responding to your messages. That's sus as hell. Bitch. Freaking bitching in cahoots with this motherfucker.
For weeks afterward, I had nightmares about waking up to see a camera lens watching me from across the room. I started checking every clock, smoke detector, and picture frame in my own apartment.
Damn.
I still think about that moment I looked into that little black lens, and the sound of the door closing somewhere behind me, in a house I thought was empty, which says to me he may have been in the house the whole time, watching me through that camera.
Because I was gonna say, for safety purposes, it does make sense to have a camera. It does. Again, like maybe not in my bedroom, not in the washroom, obviously. Like let's say in the hallway, because I have a hallway here. In the hallway, sure. In the kitchen, sure. In the living room, sure. Everywhere else, sure. Just not the bedroom or the washroom. But to have it in the bedroom of all places, facing directly at the bed. Do you not see me recording? Thank you. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's normal to have a camera, especially, it's kind of like a nanny cam, but it's like you don't have it in the bedroom, but it's like facing directly at the bed. That's creepy as fuck. That's scary as fuck. Like, imagine I'm just, like, funnily enough, this camera's always facing my bed. My bed is literally right here. And I never close my thing, I never close the lens, because I can close the lens and everything, but I don't do that. I turn off my camera and I leave it just like this. I don't touch it, I don't put it away, I leave it right there. It's always facing my bed. Like, funnily enough, it's always facing my bed. It's just off, obviously. But, yeah. Yeah, this camera's always facing my bed. So, I mean, that's the only camera I know that's facing my bed. But, yeah, that's obviously creepy. I think that was a girl in the first story. Wasn't it? Gabe. Oh, no, that was a guy. Okay. Oh, for some reason, I thought it was a girl.
Small town about.
Oh, my bad.
I booked the air.
I'm curious for this next one, but yeah, that's scary, bro. Again, just making sure someone's not doing anything like wrong in your house to have cameras, it makes sense. But To be in the house still, watching them? Bro.
Airbnb in late September, a week
Okay.
before my girlfriend Emma and I planned to spend a few days visiting her sister in a small town about 3 hours from where we lived. And I picked it because it was cheap, close enough to her sister's place, had good reviews, and looked cozy in the listing photos.
Okay.
An old two-story house with a wraparound porch, warm yellow lighting in the living room, hardwood floors that gave it a kind of storybook feeling, and one small detail in the description that I didn't think much of at the time, which was a note telling guests that the basement storage room was off limits. I'd stayed in places where the owners kept certain areas locked. It's pretty common for them to store personal belongings somewhere, so it barely registered as important. But when we pulled into the driveway just before sunset on the first evening, the place looked a little more weathered than in the photos. And there was something about the fact that it stood alone with only one other house in sight, a good distance away, surrounded by dark tree lines and a narrow road leading in,
No
that
thanks.
made me think twice. The host, Alan, was waiting for us on the porch before we'd even gotten out of the car. He was tall but slightly hunched, maybe in his late 50s, with thin gray hair combed neatly over his head. He was dressed in a perfectly pressed flannel shirt tucked into his jeans. He smiled, but it was the kind of smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. It made me think of Mr. Beast, a little too practiced. His eyes lingered on us just a bit too long when we shook hands, and though his voice was friendly enough, there was a subtle firmness to it when he began showing us around. He led us through the front door into a hallway that smelled faintly of dust and something sweet, almost like candle wax, though I didn't see any candles. The living room had a big couch facing an old television. The kitchen looked clean but dated, and when we went upstairs, the single bedroom had a large bed under a ceiling fan and a small dresser with a mirror. Then, when he came back down, Alan stopped at a door near the kitchen and tapped a heavy padlock hanging from it. He told us in a more commanding tone that that door stayed locked, that it was his storage space, and that there was no reason for us to go down there for anything. He didn't smile this time. He just moved on to point out where the extra towels were in the bathroom, before wishing us a pleasant stay and heading out the front door. After he left, Emma and I unpacked, made some tea, and sat outside on the porch for a while, listening to crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves in the trees. By the time we got into bed, the quiet was almost unnerving. No traffic, no distant voices, just pure silence.
Yeah, that'd be really eerie.
Sometime after midnight, I thought I heard a faint, dull thud from below us. I paused and listened for more, but it didn't come again. So I told myself it was probably the house settling.
The house selling my ass. I know yesterday it was around like 9 p.m. It wasn't like, it wasn't a horror story or anything. But I remember when I got home from the store, I was like, what's that noise? It was like a brum brum, brum brum, brum brum. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, it was like coming from like the family room. And I was like, what is that? But I was like, no, it's not coming from there. And my mom was like, oh, I put the laundry on. And I was like, why is it so loud? It's not that loud normally. It doesn't make a thumping noise like that. I go down and I was like, yeah, like the spinning drum was like broken. It was totally like, it was all fucked up. So at least the laundry was like 16 minutes away from being done, so we just threw it in the dryer. But it's like, yeah, that was bad. So now our washer's broken. So that's good. But yeah, that's kind of what I was just like thinking. I was like, that's kind of what I thought of when they said, yeah, I was making a sound. I was like, yeah. Because I got back, it was like 9, we're watching TV, and then I just heard like boom, 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 and I was like, what the fuck? Anyways.
The next morning, we got breakfast in town, explored a few shops, and met up with Emma's sister for lunch. We stayed out until just after dark, then went back to the house to make dinner and watch a movie. Around 2 in the morning, I woke up to use the bathroom. As I headed back toward the bedroom, I froze halfway up the stairs when I heard a dragging sound from the basement, like something heavy being pulled across a rough floor.
Oh no.
It lasted maybe 5 seconds, stopped, and then started again. My first thought was that maybe Alan had come back for something, but he had told us he wouldn't be around at all during our stay. I stood there listening until it stopped, then went into the bedroom and asked Emma in a whisper if she was awake. She said she was, and that she heard it too. We stayed awake for another half hour, but the sound didn't return. The second night was worse. We'd spent the day hiking and were exhausted, but sometime around 2:30 a.m., the noises started again. Not dragging this time, but footsteps. 4 or 5 in a row, then a pause, then 3 more, each pause lasting long enough to make me think that whoever or whatever it was listening. Emma whispered that she thought she heard breathing between the steps. My heart was pounding, but I didn't want to get up and risk making a noise. So we just lay there, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling until morning.
I'd be terrified, bro. Like, you don't know who's watching you. Like, you don't know what's going on. Like, bro. This is why I just don't go to other people's houses. This is why I just stay in my own bed.
By the third morning, the atmosphere in the house felt different. We still went out and did touristy things, but whenever we came back, it was like a heaviness settled over the rooms. I decided to check the basement door during the day.
Damn.
It was still locked, but when I leaned closer, I thought I could smell something faint and unpleasant.
Dead bodies.
Stale, damp air mixed with a hint of something sour.
I mean, you said they were dragging something earlier. It was a dead body. Oh, there's a lot of dead bodies in that basement, bro.
That night, the noises began earlier, around midnight. First came a faint metallic clinking, like metal tapping against something hard. Then the footsteps again, going on and off for nearly an hour. Emma barely spoke to me before bed. The fourth night was the breaking point. While getting ready for bed, Emma stopped brushing her hair and asked me if the smoke detector above the bed looked strange.
Oh no.
At first,
Above the bed. Oh my god, bro. That's crazy. Oh my god.
I didn't see it, but when I...
So that's why, yeah, he knows what you're doing. He has a camera, probably, like, well, obviously I knew that it was a hidden camera horror story, but it's right above the bed. Oh my god, bro. Plus, why the hell would a smell detector be right above your bed? Wouldn't you want it to be not so near your bed, so you can actually, so when the smell detector goes off, you'll actually get up, and things like that? Like, how would that make any sense? If the smell detector's above my bed, the fire's already gonna be, like, before the smell detector warns me, I'm already gonna be dead and burnt.
stood on the bed to get a closer look. I saw a small, perfectly round black dot in the middle that was shinier than the surrounding plastic. A bad feeling hit me immediately. I grabbed a chair, unscrewed the detector, and inside was a small battery-operated camera with its green light on. Emma sat on the bed pale and silent, while I searched the rest of the room and found another small lens poking through a hole in the wall near the dresser mirror, both aimed directly at the bed. That was the end of it. We shoved our stuff into our bags without bothering to fold anything, and we left the house without speaking to the host, driving to the nearest gas station to call the police. 2 officers met us there. We explained everything, the noises, the cameras, the locked basement, and they followed us back to the house. The front door was unlocked. Technically, we were still allowed in the place, as we paid for 4 days. The police followed us inside and seized all the evidence, including the cameras, I assume the memory cards, and any recording equipment they could find. They also took our statement in detail, asking if any strange events took place during our stay. That's when we mentioned hearing weird noises both nights from the basement. When we showed them the basement door, we were shocked to see that it was now wide open, but it was pitch black down there. We told them that this door was locked before, and that the host was very sketchy about not going down there. So the officers went down the stairs to investigate. Moments later, we heard voices, raised voices. There was some kind of commotion going on down there, and it quickly became clear what was happening. The officers then called us down and asked if this was the host, and to our horror, it was Alan. He was apparently hiding in a closet in the basement. In this closet was a monitor, which we could only guess was being fed the footage from the basement.
Yeah.
The police seized this as well. Alan was placed under arrest almost immediately, and he was charged criminally by the state for criminal trespass and invasion of privacy. We didn't have to testify in court or anything. The police just sent our statements to the prosecutor, I believe. Airbnb basically bribed us with a voucher in hopes that we wouldn't share our bad experience. We took the voucher, obviously, but that hasn't stopped us from telling people about this horrific experience. It's really been something that's had a lasting effect on Emma and I. We don't trust rentals or Airbnbs anymore, and lately just stick to hotels.
Yeah, like a hotel you would think is a lot safer, you would hope is a lot safer, you would think is a lot safer. So I think you'd be fine in a hotel. But let's check that one. Oh, damn. Okay. So 6.5 minutes, no, so yeah, about 7 minutes left in this video. Yeah, that's honestly horrifying. So basically we've had 2 stories so far with 3 cameras directly at the bed. Like, what are they even, like why are you watching people sleep? Like, it's facing directly at the bed, so like, what do you think they're doing besides sleeping? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just fucking sleeping, changing maybe, but like, what are you doing? Like, that's probably what they want to see, but still, what the fuck? Like, bro, how do people actually have the guts and stuff to even do that? I don't even understand. Like, it's so creepy, it's so weird, it's so illegal, it's so, like, morally, everything's just wrong about that. Like, why would you, fuck, it's so creepy. Yeah, I'm just gonna stay in my bed, like I said, I'm just gonna stay here. Let's not go anywhere else, ever.
My name is Joe, and this happened about a week ago.
You just said it's anonymous. Unless it's a fake name.
I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate Eric. I didn't know him before moving in. We met through a Facebook housing group. He seemed normal enough when we first met to check the place out. He was quiet, polite, and kind of awkward, but not
Okay.
really in a bad way. At the time, I thought that would be a good thing because I wasn't looking for a best friend, just someone responsible enough to help pay rent and not trash the place.
Yeah.
For the first couple of months, it was fine. We had opposite work schedules. I worked a regular 9-to-5 office job, and he worked at some warehouse on the late shift. Because of that, I barely saw him. Most of the time when I was leaving in the morning, his door would be shut, and at night when I came home, he was usually gone. We'd cross paths once or twice a week, usually just exchanging a few words in the kitchen or living room. It was nothing special, but it worked.
Like, imagine living with someone but then barely seeing them ever. Like, that's so weird. Like, it's like you live alone but you don't.
Then I started noticing little things in my room that made me feel off.
Oh no.
The first time it happened, I came home late and saw that my closet door was open. I usually keep it closed because I don't like seeing my clothes sticking out, but I figured maybe I had left it that way that morning. A few days later, I noticed my desk chair turned slightly toward the bed. I never sit in it that way. Again, I brushed it off and thought maybe I was just not paying attention. Still, it put a strange feeling in my stomach. Like
Someone's
somebody
moving your
had been
shit.
in my room.
Yep.
One Saturday morning, I was cleaning. I wiped the shelves, dusted, and then started on the window. That's when I saw it. Up in the corner, where the wall met the ceiling, there was this little black dot. I thought it was maybe a screw or a hole in the wall, but when I got closer, I froze. It was a tiny camera, a small wireless camera pointed straight at my bed.
Again.
My hand shook as I pulled it off the wall. It wasn't even hidden well, just stuck with a little piece of adhesive. It had a spot for a memory card, but the card was missing. I just stood there holding it, feeling sick.
It's missing, so he already took the memory card out when he was in your room.
I thought about all the nights I had been in here sleeping, changing clothes, even being intimate with women. The only person who could have put it there was Eric.
Oh my
He was the
god.
only other one with access to my room.
Oh my god.
At that moment, he wasn't home. His door was closed and the apartment was quiet. I stood in the hallway, staring at his door, with my heart pounding. I told myself not to do it, but curiosity won. I slowly turned his doorknob and opened it. His room smelled stale, like old food and dirty laundry. The blinds were shut, and the room was dark, even though it was the middle of the day. His bed was unmade, and his desk was cluttered with papers, unopened mail, and change. I searched around a little, half expecting to find another camera or maybe recordings on his laptop, but there was nothing obvious. Just a messy room. I closed the door and went back to my room, but I couldn't get rid of the uneasiness.
There's still 4 minutes left of this too. But yeah, it's like, bro, like, can you imagine? Like, you literally think you're in your own, like, you're in your own place. You think you have privacy, changing, sleeping, apparently being intimate, and then it's all recorded. Bro, that could be leaked somewhere. Like, you changing, you doing, like, bro, that, oh my god, that's a total nightmare. Oh my god.
I decided to test him. I put the camera in my nightstand drawer under some socks. My plan was simple. If he came looking for it, then I'd know for sure it was him who planted it. For 2 nights, nothing happened. I still felt tense, but since there weren't any signs, I started to think that maybe I was overthinking the whole thing. Then came the 3rd night. I woke up at around 3 in the morning. At first, I wasn't sure why, but then I heard a noise. It was soft, like wood sliding against wood. Then I realized it was coming from right beside me, from my nightstand drawer.
Yep.
I
Oh
opened my eyes
fuck.
a little, pretending to still be asleep. In the faint light coming through the blinds, I saw a figure. It was Eric. He was standing in my room, bent over my nightstand, rummaging through the drawer where I had hidden the camera. I felt my chest tighten and my heart beat so loud I was sure he could hear it.
What are you gonna do at that point? Like, are you just gonna like jump out of bed and tackle him, or wait for him? Like, what are you gonna do now? I'm kind of curious.
I stayed still, not knowing what to do. And then he stopped. He froze and just stood there, completely still.
That's so
Slowly,
creepy.
he turned his head toward my bed. He was looking straight at me. For a moment, I thought maybe he wasn't sure if I was awake. But then he spoke. He said he knew I was awake.
Oh
I
fuck.
felt ice run down my spine as he said that. Then he asked me what I had done with it. I sat up quickly, my fear turning to anger. I demanded to know why he put a camera in my room. He stared at me and told me it was because he thought I was stealing from him. I told him that was ridiculous, that it made no sense. I said he had aimed the camera at my bed and that it was one of the most sickest things I've ever seen. He tried to tell me he only wanted proof, but I didn't buy it. I told him he was lying, that he had been spying on me. We started yelling at each other. He kept repeating that I was overreacting. I told him I was going to report him to the landlord and maybe even the police. My voice was shaking with both fear and rage. Finally, I yanked open the drawer, grabbed the camera, and held it up. I told him that this was proof and that he was never getting it back. I stormed out of my room, walked into the kitchen, and threw the camera straight into the garbage, thinking I broke it. I told him to stay out of my room and that the next day I would be telling the landlord everything. Eric stood in the hallway with his fists clenched, and he was just staring at me with a blank expression. Then he turned and walked back into his room without another word.
Bro, what you really gotta do is like destroy the SD card, or just take the SD card with the footage, right? I'm not gonna say necessarily destroy it. Just take it, delete all the footage, then you get a free SD card, right? But like, make sure there's nothing on that. You know, make sure you get the SD card back. That's what has the footage. Like, yes, you've got the camera out of the way, but where's the footage at? Where's the footage stored? Or is it already on his computer?
I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I sat on the couch with the TV on, too afraid he might come back into my room. Every little sound in the apartment made me jump. When the sun finally came up, I checked the garbage can. The camera was gone. That was a week ago. I told the landlord what happens.
I don't know why you would have just put it in the garbage. Obviously, he'll just take it back out.
He said he would look into it, but so far nothing has been done. Eric still lives here. We don't speak, but the way he looks at me when we pass each other makes my skin crawl. It's like he's waiting for me to say or do something.
Move out.
I don't know why he really put the camera in my room. His excuse about me stealing was an obvious lie. I don't know what he wanted to record or what he was planning to do with it, and honestly, I don't want to know. But every night when I lay down in bed, I can't shake the feeling that there are more cameras hidden around me. Maybe in places I wouldn't think to check. I scoured the entire room and couldn't find any, but still, the thought does linger in my mind. Last night, I was awake late and heard footsteps come down the hallway and then stop right outside my door. For over a minute there was silence, except for slight cracks in the wood floor outside my door from the pressure of him standing there. He stood there like a creep for a couple of minutes, until I finally heard his footsteps move away from the door. I'm looking into moving out. I'm
Yeah.
also trying to figure out if pressing charges for invasion of privacy or something is feasible, considering I didn't even think to take a picture of the camera or record the confrontation or anything. I don't even have any texts from him admitting to placing the camera there. I've got literally nothing. But anyway, wish me luck in this situation, because I'm not sure what the outcome will be.
Yeah, this is why I don't want to live with anybody, and if I do, it has to be someone I trust and I know would not do that. Because like having just like a simple roommate could turn into something horrific like this, into them having nude pictures of you, into them recording everything you're doing. It may not even just be your bed; it may just be anything in your room, right? Which this is like your room is like your privacy. You know what I mean? Like your room is like your space. It's bro, that's horrifying. Oh my god. The guy in the last story was speedrunning the worst decisions anyone could make in that situation, threw away the evidence, didn't call the cops, and is still living there. Even if that guy continues to do creepy things, bro has a death wish. Yeah, that's stupid. That thing isn't what you think it is. It's a motion sensor. How do you know I was looking at the clock if it's just a motion sensor? Exactly. That poor dog, even he hates Craig. The second story was so satisfying. rational action from the op, law enforcement taking it seriously, instant justice, all rare things in a lot of these types of stories. Exactly, like the third and first one, no justice, no one in charge, nothing, like nothing at all. My heart breaks for Max. He wanted to get out. It's no wonder he's so anxious. It's not what you think. How would you know what is going on unless it was a camera? Exactly. It's not what you think. I didn't even say anything to you, bruh. If only the guy in the last row was smart enough to preserve the camera instead of trashing it for no freaking reason. Take it with you, bro. The fuck? And move the fuck out. That's saying, like, move the fuck out then. Bro, call the police right then and there so they can make sure you're safe while you take your shit out and get the fuck out of there. Okay. Sure. Poor, what the fuck? What the fuck again? What the fuck? Thank you. Poor Max, he wanted to go with him, but couldn't climb out of the window. I didn't even think of that. I thought the dog was just trying to go after him, like, as in, like, trying to go after him, not trying to escape. Damn, bro, that's sad. He later chucked away the only evidence he had into the bin, and when he checked it, it was gone. Yeah, of course it's gone. Every time my family and I go to Airbnb, we bring our hidden camera detector to make sure there's no hidden cameras. There's a hidden camera detector? The fuck? Okay. Is it actually a thing, guys? There's a hidden camera detector. I mean, I guess that'd be helpful, but damn, like you would hope that you wouldn't need that. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Gotta go to the washroom as well. But yeah, honestly, like, please be careful. Please don't be creeps like this, and please don't place hidden cameras anywhere. That's really fucking creepy, and that's really illegal. I don't know what else to say about this. I really don't. All I can imagine is myself in that scenario, and I'm just like, I don't know what I would do. I literally have no idea what I would do. Not a clue. Please be safe, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces. Peace.